And you probably wondered what happened.
Yes, and oftentimes you don't get to find out.
You know, that's what I would be.
You have to pick what you're going to follow up on, and oftentimes you just don't get to know.
No.
So this is no more stronger and more stressful than in like the first year or two that you're doing it.
Yeah.
So I had started writing because I've always written. So I would come home sometimes unable to sleep, and I would write, and
well, geez,
it was a way to process it. Yeah, it did.
That helped because once you can get, let me just borrow this minute here. Look, once you can get the pain of life in general, I found when I wrote mine, was that if you can write it down on paper, sometimes that alleviates some of the stress and strain from the actual event that's happened.
Yeah, you can
know?
make,
Is this her 901?
Yeah. And the first chapter in the book was really my first attempt to understand a suicide that I had had to dispatch, be a part of, and my caller was the woman's 12-year-old daughter.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had a daughter.
Oh.
And have a daughter, and so I mean, I was all over the place with how deeply I felt for these people.
Had to be just
yeah.
Crying out to her.
Yeah, yeah.
So her daughter was committing suicide?
Actually, it was the mother who committed suicide in the presence of 3 children.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, and I spoke to the oldest of the 3 children. Yeah.
Ooh.
So you can imagine what that family was.
Oh.
The family life in general was terrible.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So.
Just like we just had this. Did you hear about this man that just killed 3 of his daughters?
Yes, a little bit. That happened over the weekend.
What do you suppose is going on in their brain when they do something like that? Have you any idea?
We deal with a lot of suicide.
Research suicide and stuff. Why did he just kill himself? Because I can't have him, so you can't have him?
And there, I think, in a lot, especially when it comes to parenting, I think a lot of people are so overwhelmed by the responsibility of it that they think they have to do these horrific things to get control of everything. In killing those 3, he got control of his parenting finally. I don't know what was in his head really, but
well, that makes sense.
It's funny because I practice yoga a lot, and yoga helps me so much with my job. And
I bet it does, relaxes you.
Yes, and one of the tenets of yoga, has to do with contentment and letting go of your attachments and your aversions. In other words, letting go of all the things you believe you need or want, and just being okay with the way things are. And I just know that I talk to a lot of people who are not okay with the way things are and think that if they can't control them, they need to do something really serious to get control, and that's the world we live in sometimes.
Yeah. So do you get in the area? I don't know what area you work in, but the area you work in, do you get many calls a day, a night, or do you work days, nights? What?
Yeah, I work days and nights. Just sort of depends. And right now, primarily, I'm working ambulance dispatch for Hennepin County and outstate regions. And Hennepin. So that includes a lot of Minneapolis and then a lot of the Minneapolis suburbs.
Right.
So those are pretty active.
Oh, that's probably a pretty active area.
Yeah.
More so than White Bear Lake or Shoreview or
yeah. Although for a time I was I was dispatching for the city of White Bear Lake, and that's my hometown. Yep. And I was kind of shocked at all the things that go on,
I bet you probably were.
Yeah, and just at the time that I was working there, I don't know when meth suddenly busted out, but let's just say I learned a lot about meth and meth addiction when I worked at White Bear, because it's there. It's in Ramsey County. It's in Hennepin County. It is a problem, and it's devastating.
Well, I've seen some people on TV that their teeth were all rotted out of their head. I mean, I don't think a drug that's going to rot your teeth out of your head is kind of a good thing to do. It can't be too good for you.
Yeah, it's so incredibly addicting.
It's a shame.
Mm-hmm. and it turns people into they are in the pursuit of one thing all the time, and so their families.
The drug.
Yeah, the drug.
And the drug.
Their families suffer, and their children suffer, and then they eventually, you know, and it seems to be very, very difficult to stay off of.
Is it?
Yeah, more so than.
Shame.
Yeah. So, but I was very surprised as someone who grew up in White Bear that it was so prevalent, because I had this idea.
Oh yeah.
Of what? Yeah, and most people do, and that's good. Like, because when you work police dispatch, you start to think that the whole world is the way you see only about 5% of the population acting.
Right,
you know?
right,
and I have to remind myself that frequently, that there's way more people out there functioning and and abiding by the law and treating each other with kindness.
Right.
And this is just a small percentage. Yeah. And there's just a small percentage, and unfortunately, you talk to them a lot when you work dispatch.
You do. That's an amazing job. I've always thought that would be probably the most interesting job to have. Just, I mean, to be there when somebody calls and somebody's drowning or somebody's, you know, and be able to get the cops there right away. And it's like, that to me would be so exciting. I would feel so good about myself that I maybe helps, you know, somebody survive.
Yes, when things happen the way, when 911 works best is when you have a caller who can give you the information you need, and you can get the help there really fast. Yeah, and that is a problem that we have now with cell phones, is that just because you call doesn't mean the operator knows where you are.
Not on a cell phone.
And when someone's, let's say you're on a cell phone and you see that someone's drowning, you're in a panic state, and the dispatcher needs to know from you where this is happening, but you're in a panic state, and so that's where that's where things get frustrating for both the caller and the dispatcher, because it's like, yes, I want to get that help to you right now, but if you don't say where you are, usually what we have is we can look on a screen and tell what tower your cell call is bouncing off of.
Oh, I see.
Well, that's a couple mile range, so.
Sure. That could be anywhere.
Yeah, it could. So anyway, that's part of the stress of the job.
Give you specific instructions where they are.
It's
in an excitement mode, you won't be able to do that probably.
Sometimes. It's interesting who, you know, we get all different kinds of callers. Some callers are so calm and so collected, you think that what they're telling you can't be true, because it's like, well, then how can you be so calm?
Oh, yeah.
You know? Right. And then other calls, you think, holy cow, based on what I just heard, I think the world is ending over there. And then police get there, and it's like
nothing.
No, the baby's fine. You know, usually it's a mom having hysterics over a baby.
Over a baby, yeah.
Moms can't be objective about their children's pain in general.
Yeah, of course not.
And I know that. I'm a mom.
You know how that could be.
But if I take a call where it's a female overreacting, it's usually because it's her child.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure, that's for sure.
So.
Yeah, we all mommies want to protect our babies.
Yes, and the moment they have discomfort, it's like,
911.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get a lot of calls that are just frivolous? In other words, they're not, they're not life or death. They're just sort of, the baby's.
I would say we get a lot of calls.
Diarrhea.
Yeah, we get a lot of calls, and I wouldn't categorize as frivolous, but we get there, and it becomes evident that maybe it's not as serious as the caller thought.
Okay.
However, I would never want to harp on those calls, because you never know how serious. Yeah, and I don't want those people who are on the fence with something to not call and then regret it.
No, of course not. Yeah. No, everybody should always call.
As far as 911 dispatcher, as far as the 911 call takers are concerned, the only calls that really make you mad are the ones where it's a crank call, which is a waste of time and energy, or it's someone who's been known to abuse the system in certain ways. Yeah. And this gets back to our healthcare and what people think they can and can't afford. But for some people, it's easier to call for an ambulance than it is to actually get a cab over to the ER or urgent care.
Right.
A lot of things are very appropriate for urgent care.
Right, a lot of things, yeah.
But you get seen faster.
Right.
And stuff like that if you call an ambulance. So there's some abuse. I wouldn't say there's a ton of it, but there's some.
Well, I'm glad that I'm glad that you're doing this, because that's so needed. I mean, we need you to be there to help these people in crisis. I mean, it's like horribly scary. And I just love that you guys are doing that. I mean, that's a real mission that you're on, to actually be able to help somebody right away.
Yeah, I really like the job. Some days I love the job, you know.
Yeah, I bet you
I would
do.
say it's safer to say I like the job. But and I love the job when things
Something
gel
good
together
happens.
and we get, you know, and I also I work with really awesome instinctive dispatchers who seem to be really good at dispatching the right help based on very little information.
That's really good.
We've had a few lately where some judgment calls have been made, and I'm just so proud of a lot of the people I work with, because it's like, wow, how did you even know that was needed? But they just know based on their years and based on instinct. And
their instincts. You've got to have instincts. I'm sure that plays a lot in your communication on the phone.
Yeah.
Because you're communicating with some stranger on the phone. And
yeah.
You'd have to be pretty quick on your toes to get what they need.
You get good at picking up keywords that other people don't think about, and you know, and you start to see patterns with people.
Yeah.
So that
Do you
takes
get a lot
time.
of domestic abuse calls?
You know, there are, and those are often repeat calls. Those are things that happen to the same people
Yeah,
a
the
lot.
woman stays there a lot. She still stays there after she's been beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an illness.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, those people drop off and you don't hear from them. And so I like to tell myself, and maybe this just helps me cope with the stress of the job, is I like to tell myself, well, that person must have gotten help.
Yes.
You know?
I hope she called.
And she's not going to tell us if she did.
No, but hopefully
maybe she did.
I hope. I always pray that the women get help from domestic abuse.
Yeah.
Domestic violence is very, very, very big problem in our country.
Yes, it is.
Very, very bad, and I'm an advocate for getting all the help they can get. And I interview different organizations that help women with domestic violence, trafficking of women, all those type of organizations that come in and talk with me. So women out there can get a handle on, hey, call so-and-so, you know, call the Refuge Network, call the Breaking Free, call, you know, all these different organizations. They're out there. In 1960, they weren't there, but they are now. And they didn't have, when did 911 start, by the way?
I believe the 80s, the early 80s is what I've heard.
I believe so, 82, I think.
I mean, of course, there was always the operator to call, but that wasn't exactly it.
That's what you would have to do.
Yeah.
Back in the 60s, you'd have to call the operator. Even the operator made long-distance calls and stuff. I mean, we've come a long way, baby. Well, I want to thank you for coming today.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're so sweet to come in here and tell about your books.
It's been fun.
And remember that Caroline Burau is having her books on what? Where can we get them? Amazon?
They're available on Amazon.
Amazon?
They're available at Answering 911's available most bookstores, and Sugarfiend is available some of the local bookstores and on Amazon.
Okay, good. So go out and get this sugar fix. No, I'm just kidding. And I want to sign off now, and I want to say I'm glad you joined me today. And Caroline is going to go and take care of all the people out there that need 911 and have herself a cupcake. Bye-bye.
Those fingers in my head, that sly come hither stare, that strips my conscience bare, it's witchcraft.